Hey, Barrett Wilson here. Today we're diving into the mindset of country lead guitar playing. Not just what you play, but how to think like a country guitarist. We're also going to cover some of the most essential techniques that you'll explore when learning to play this music. Let's talk about mindset real quick. Country guitar is quite expansive. Its language pulls from blues, jazz, bluegrass, and even rock and gospel. Blends it all into a style that's super expressive, melodic, and a whole lot of fun. At its core, it's about telling a story, being bold. Sometimes it's about loud, twangy guitar solos to keep the party going. As guitar players, if we're lucky enough to get the gig, it's important we dive in and learn all that we can. Now, if this is speaking to you, stick around to the end of this video because I've got a practice tip that brings all of this into focus. Okay, let's dip our toe into just some of the core lead country guitar techniques and the best way to approach them. Now, to preface all these techniques, I have to say it's very important that you have a certain amount of scale knowledge. So major, minor pentatonics. Also the full major scale. Some of its modes as well come in quite handy. Also blues scale. And then understanding how chromatic notes work, aka the chromatic scale. A lot of times we approach other chord tones with chromaticism. All of these scale lessons are available on the Guitar Tricks platform. I highly recommend you check them out. Okay, without further ado, the first one we're going to talk about is triads. These are little 3-note chord shapes that we can play all over the neck. We use them for almost everything in country guitar. They act as little anchors to build licks, create melodies, and so much more. So here's some little triad shapes that we can play. I'm in the key of E here, and we usually stick to certain string sets. Right now, G, B, and high E. So you can find them all over the place. There's one here, here, there's one here, and then you can find them on other string sets as well. So this is D, G, and B. And then they also happen on A, D, and G as well. And then also on the lower strings, E, A, and D strings. Now, along with thinking in terms of chords and chord progressions with triads, we can also think of stringing the triads together kind of like a scale. So there's many different ways that we can think about them, string them together. Really great thing to study for country guitar. Okay, the next one is hybrid picking. This is used a whole lot in country guitar. Sometimes it's not enough just to use your pick or just to use your fingers. Sometimes you gotta use both. And that's what we do with hybrid picking. So let me take one of these triad shapes here. And what I'm gonna do is use the pick on the G string, use my middle finger on the B string, and my ring finger on the high E string. And this is useful for so many things in country guitar. Some things would be like banjo rolls, or chicken picking, where we make everything really kind of short and staccato. All of these things use hybrid picking quite a bit. All right, next would be double stops, or more simply, just playing 2 notes at a time. Now, usually in country guitar, that's going to be intervals of thirds and sixths. Let's take a look at thirds. You'll find them all over the place. They're really nice on the B and high E strings. Also, thirds are all over the place. Okay, the next thing is going to be bends and pedal steel bends. Bending is such a big part of country lead playing. So there's a few different ways that we can think about this. One is just bending single strings. You think in terms of whole steps and half steps within the key. So if I'm in the key of E, so right there, I'm just playing notes around the key and just bending how I feel. Now, the next thing that's really big in country guitar is pedal steel bends. And this essentially means kind of playing those diads or those double stops, bending one string while the other note stays static. So. Now this works really well on the G and B strings, also works really well on B and high E as well. Okay, and finally, huge technique with country guitar is open string runs. To get those fast and twangy guitar sounds, it's all about licks and riffage using open strings. Now to do this, you need familiarity with the aforementioned scales in open position. Great scales to study are E, A, C, G, and D. All of these scales have open strings that work really well with the guitar. You can find some really nice rubby notes. And then you can do kind of what I did there, which was mix and match scales. Major scale, blues, mixolydian. Now real quick, to find more in-depth lessons on not only country, but complete beginner to advanced guitar learning, click the link in the description below for a free ultimate beginner guide that includes an essential chord chart, a practice plan, a walkthrough of some beginner pitfalls to avoid, plus a whole lot more. Now back to the lesson. Now technique is just half the equation here. The other half, listening. If you want to think like a country guitarist, you have to listen like one. If you're interested in playing this style, you've probably already got some favorites. Dig in and set aside some time to listen to as much country music as you can. Listen closely to their tone, phrasing, and timing. And with this comes my final practice tip. The next step is to start transcribing. Pick a full solo or even a short lick and figure it out by ear. Even if it's just a couple of notes at a time. See if you can figure things out like what the scale is or what technique they're using to achieve a certain sound, what are the rhythms. This kind of active listening and transcribing will develop your ear and playing intuition way faster than mindless scale drills. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Give the video a like if you got something out of it. Hit subscribe if you want more deep dives into all things guitar. Also, on the Guitar Tricks platform, we have an incredibly thorough country guitar learning path that includes hundreds of videos taught by our very own Anders Mortsen. It's all there. I highly recommend taking advantage of that. Now be sure to enter your email for a free beginner guitar guide linked in the description, or you can find it on the next screen. We'll see you later.